Welcome back to Popping the Cork on Coverage with the Champaign Agency today. I'm Tamara Champaign. I'm joined with most of my usual crew. We've got Chelsea Harlan, Chelsea Ray, Shannon Barnett, Deborah Steffi, and Emily Ewing. Today, because it is home buying season, we're going to touch base on buying a home again because I think it's really important. So if any of you are in the market for a home currently, please just comment down below and hopefully you'll learn some useful stuff from us today. So let's get started. There are a few things that can catch people off guard when they're making an offer. Oh, I forgot to pop the cork!
The most important part.
Right. Let's pop the cork on coverage.
Woo!
That can catch people off guard. And let's go over some of those so that you don't end up in a position where you've fallen in love with a house that you can't get insured.
So two of the biggest things that homebuyers may overlook is roof age and electrical systems. If your roof is 20 years or older, or the electrical is knob and tube wiring or fuse panels, some carriers will decline that right then and there, or they could limit your coverage. So the important part is that you can often spot these in like listing photos, or if you are touring a home, just keep your eye out for that. We had a situation where home buyers have fallen in love with the home, they've made an offer, found out insurance is either extremely high or unavailable. So just to avoid that, some quick like pre-offer checks, just kind of be on the lookout for that, keep that in mind.
And then is there anything that's specific to Michigan that we think that we should be aware of?
Yeah, so to talk about Michigan specifically, what buyers should watch out for here, a few big ones: service line, finished basement with no water backup or not enough water backup, distance to fire hydrants, and then pools without proper fencing. These all impact eligibility, pricing, and required coverage. Another thing I also want to bring up on homes that you potentially could be buying are previous claims on the home. If a home has a lot of water backup, or water claims, I should say, that can also affect the eligibility of insuring the home, or could cause the insurance to be higher with those claims on the history of the home.
Which we get it, right? It wasn't your claim, but that because there's so many water claims in Michigan, this is why this happens.
Yeah, the insurance company ends up feeling unsure if mold was remediated, if the water damage was dried up well enough.
Yeah.
So it looks like it could be another future claim, and so they just walk away from the risk.
So obviously, like we mentioned, it is home buying season. No one's ever just going to look at one home. They're probably going to look at multiple homes. One thing that you're really going to want to look out for is the roof age on the home. Hopefully it's listed in the Zillow listing, or whichever listing I guess you're looking at. Your realtor should also probably be helping you try to find that information as well. Just because if you are so set on the home that you did tour and you love it, but you come to find out the roof is, say, 20 years old, your roof is now going to be insured for actual cash value. It's not going to be insured for replacement cost. So even though you might be looking for a home in a similar area and they're the same price point, you're going to want to pay attention to that because the home with the newer roof is going to be insured for replacement cost. Also, a new roof on a home that you're looking for can save you between like $700 to $800, if not a little bit more, could be a little bit less in regards to insurance, just because it's less likely of a risk that you'll be filing a claim on your homeowner's policy.
But what happens if the home with the ACV roof, what happens if they have a claim?
Oh, so obviously we're going to always advise you, get estimates, all that good stuff. But depending on what that estimate comes back as, say it's, $20,000 to get a new roof, which is probably the average cost nowadays, it's going to be depreciated. So they're not going to replace your roof back to giving you a brand new one. They're going to replace it back to what it was. So you're not essentially getting a full new roof because you don't have actual cash value, you don't have replacement costs, it's just actual cash value. So you're still going to end up paying a big chunk of money if the roof is, 20 years old because it needs to be replaced.
Yeah, it might be depreciated down 75%.
Yeah.
So on a home where the roof is $25,000, right, they're going to pay $6,000. You're going to pay the other $19,000. So that is definitely something you want to be aware of before you put an offer in.
Another thing that seems to come up are water claims and basements. This is where people get caught off guard, especially in Michigan. We saw a situation where sewer backup caused $18,000 in damage, and the policy only had $5,000 in coverage. So that means that person was out of pocket $13,000 for the claim. We just recently had a phone call as well where a client took off the sewer and drain backup coverage, went away on vacation, and came back and had 16 inches of water in his basement. So he will not have coverage for that since he took the sewer and drain backup coverage off.
He was trying to save a couple dollars
Trying
and
to
ended
save-
up costing himself a fortune.
Right, and it's really not that much. It's just an extra, $10 or so a month if it's monthly, or like $100, $150 per year. But it's way better than paying, $15,000, $16,000, $20,000 to get it dried out and to get the drywall replaced and your furnace
And we don't have all the details from this client. He's a longtime client. It breaks my heart that
Yeah.
this is the situation. We don't have all the details either. I don't know how long that water was sitting there before he came home.
Mm-hmm.
So if that water was sitting there for a day, 2 days, a week, now we're talking about mold, and there isn't going to be any coverage for that, and that is a bad health situation.
Absolutely.
Right? You need to now make these repairs, and there'll be more repairs than they would have been had you been home and been able to take care of it right away.
And then just a reminder too, like that water backup coverage is water that comes in through the drains in the basement. It's not flood. Flood is a separate policy, and that has to come in through the windows and the doors. So just a reminder of
And
that.
I'm jumping in all over the place today. I apologize, guys, but I do want to say something about that because we've seen so many flood situations. Crazy so far this spring, all over the United States, but in Michigan as well. And I will tell you, I'm in the process of buying a new home, and it's on a canal. I am not in a flood zone. I have an elevation certificate, so I don't need flood insurance, but I'm going to buy flood insurance. Like, just because you're not in a quote unquote flood zone does not mean that your home will not flood. Like, don't ever, doesn't matter where you live, your home can flood. And it's very inexpensive if you're not in a technical flood zone. So I'm sorry, back on track.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about replacement cost versus purchase price, right? So, I mean, this is one that we come across a lot. So, they're not the same. You might be buying a home for $350,000, but to actually rebuild the home is $450,000, right? Because insurance builds the home from ground up. They don't look at, like, as a realtor aspect of that, it's not what city you live in or anything like that. It's built on what it would cost to rebuild the home. And that is like labor, materials, code upgrades actually, debris removal, demand after major loss events. So insurance is based on rebuilding your home and the cost, not the market value. And that is why it's important to ask how the number is calculated, not just accepted a default estimate. So it's just we do get that question a lot. So it is really important when an insurance company is insuring home. It's definitely based on how much it would cost, to build your home.
So there's sometimes some add-ons. What are key coverages that buyers should ask about?
So some key coverages buyers should ask about while looking is water backup, service line, and ordinance and law. Adding 10 to 25% ordinance or law coverage is usually inexpensive, but critical if you live in an older, or if you live in an older city and you do have to rebuild. We had a service line claim where a sewer lateral repair was over $8,000. Luckily, the homeowner had coverage. If not, that would have all been paid out of pocket.
And then to mention deductibles as well, if you were to file a claim. So carriers are going to have separate deductibles, right? So you're going to have an all perils deductible and you're going to have a wind and hail deductible. Each carrier can potentially do it a little bit different. Some carriers will allow you to match that deductible. So for example, $1,000 all perils and $1,000 wind and hail. Other carriers have a bare minimum of $2,500 wind and hail deductible. And then there are some sneaky carriers that will do a percentage of your coverage A. So for example, if you have a $400,000 home, you have a 1% wind and hail deductible, it's going to be $4,000 out of pocket to be able to file a claim. And then
And every renewal, every time that increases, your deductible will increase as well.
right, so yeah, so if your coverage A increases at your renewal,
From
Your-
like 400 to 450.
yep, your deductible is going to go up as well. Carriers don't always disclose that very well, so that is something to definitely look out for when searching for insurance for your home. Ask those questions to your agent to confirm what that wind and hail deductible is, because more often than not, it is going to be different than your all perils deductible.
Yeah, sometimes people, I get it. You're buying a house, it's very expensive, and you're at the end of your budget, and so you're trying to get the least expensive home insurance you can, but often the least expensive insurance ends up being the most expensive in the long run.
It really is.
Yeah.
Sure does.
So, so another thing I'd like to go over, we had a buyer planning to finish a basement, a studio basement. We increased the water backup coverage and scheduled high value items. Later, when a sump pump failure happened, the claim was fully covered, no surprises.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the key, right? I mean, always keep us updated when you're updating on your home. Because if we don't know, we can't increase things. And we would hate that if you were to make your home have all these beautiful things and then there's a claim and then it's not covered. You know, that actually saddens us, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and some things can actually help your premiums.
Absolutely.
Like the brand new roof, plumbing,
Furnace,
yeah.
you know, all those things.
Another example is going to be if you have a pool or if you're looking to put in a pool. You're going to want to take a look at your liability limits. Not that you expect anything to happen, right? But God forbid there's that slim chance of something happening. We're always going to suggest you at least have $500,000 for liability, whether you have a pool or even if you don't have a pool, because we don't want something to happen to you and your family and then something become a financial burden because you don't have adequate coverage whenever you have less than, what we would like you to have. Especially when you do have a pool. God forbid if you have a child and they have friends over, and we're not even going to discuss any of things like that and what could happen, but God forbid those parents try to come after you. Also having fencing around your pool as well, especially with a locked gate. That's a carrier question, whether there's a locked gate, not a locked gate. All home inspections will take place with a new carrier as well, so if you don't have those in place, more than likely they're going to come out and say something, and then that's when you'll get a call from us. Even if your liability limits are a little bit lower, we can always look at increasing that, and then once you get to that $500,000 mark, we can also look at adding an umbrella policy if you have underlining qualifying limits as well, which also have to meet your auto policy as well. So
Yeah, and going from because a lot of declaration pages that I see, it's usually 300,000 when we're looking at people's declarations pages. 500,000 literally is like $8 more a month for $200,000 extra. It's something really to look at.
So I think, bottom line is, we've said a lot of words, but it really isn't complicated. If you're looking at a house, or do you think you want to make an offer on a house, we're here for you. Just drop us the link to your MLS listing. We'll take a look and let you know if there are any insurance red flags that you need to know about before you make that offer. So before you're fully committed and your heart's in it, let us take a look. There's no obligation whatsoever, but we're more than happy to do that for you. And in the end, it could save you some surprises. It could save you thousands of dollars. So that's it for us today. Happy home hunting. Cheers.
Cheers. And if you need help, let us know.
yay!